We're going to wrap up our show here with the business and branding segment with Christina and Keith here. We're going to talk about visualization in business. And I know that we talked about it a little bit with AJ earlier today, but let's break down the 5 foundations most entrepreneurs skip because they're too busy chasing likes instead of building legacy. And I want to talk about how entrepreneurs and business leaders can use visualization in building your empire as a weapon. But before we go there, let's go back to something you said a few minutes ago when the boys were still on stage about how you inadvertently have been using visualization in your life with your with your kids and so forth. Christina, why have you maybe had challenges with using visualization in business on a day-to-day basis with business?
I think, and full disclosure, the title does not match what the description is for this. So ignore the foundations. We're going to talk visualization.
Sure.
Let's just roll with that. Why has it been a struggle? I think in
It's less
part
for you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's because, and I meant to ask this, but is it because it's not tangible for you and you can't maybe, is it the grayness that makes it uncomfortable for you, Christina?
No, I think it's taken me a long time to learn about the brain and learn about my
Mm,
brain and
mm,
understand the value of these things. We've talked about this. Like I'm a
mm.
why person. I Normally the aha moments for me come when I understand what's happening biophysically or from a neuroscience perspective. That really resonates with me. And so when I've been able to look into things like rewiring and things like visualization from that perspective, it does seem really tangible. But previously, yeah, and I always thought I've done it before. I've done it my whole life playing ball, like you're taught. You're
Mhm.
going to take the free throw 1,000, 10,000, a million times in your mind before you're actually going to get into a game and take the free throw. So I get it, but I never knew its context outside of sport. And I think that was something new for me.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, so let's put visualization over there. And I want to keep talking with you on the business side of it because I like to equate it to feelings. And like I said, you as a mother who's you only got a few years of kids' feelings underneath your belt. I'm telling you, man, as those kids keep getting older, I found it got easier to feel with business because she's only at September. I
Mhm.
know what it feels like. And then you equate to what has to happen in business and start getting into the fourth quarter of the year. And I think you're gonna
Yeah.
find it real powerful as that continues. You're like, oh, I gotta take the kids to swimming again or whatever. Like these kids, like, and these feelings equate to moments at work. And I think that's when the magic starts happening, Christina.
Yeah, and I wanna stick here. I don't wanna go to the foundations conversation. I think this is a good conversation because you come by it naturally, and I'd love
Very
to
naturally come.
explore yeah, like, one, when did you first realize I feel like you had a little bit of an aha moment on the show today, but when did you first realize that is what you were doing, and that was a technique that you were using, and why do you think that's something that you leaned on?
It's actually funny because AJ brought it up. I think I created some awareness while I was training for Kilimanjaro. I certainly used visualization through my divorce.
Mhm.
I certainly use visualization through selling the company, ICUC, these little experiences I had, and these little moments along the way. Like I never forget the one dinner conversation I had with a friend in New York City with my business partner. And he said, Keith, to sell the business, you got to solve the 1,000 piece puzzle, not 900 pieces, it's 1,000 pieces. And if you solve all 199 pieces, but you can't get the last one, you're not going to get the check. Right. So that was really meaningful for me, Christina, because then in my
Mm.
mind, I'm like, okay, I need to find 1,000 pieces visually and then piece them all together. And I found it easy. I don't want to
What does
downplay
that mean? Like, you need to find I think I know what you're talking about, but
I can just
explore
kind of
this with us. Like,
see
what do
it.
you mean? What does a thousand-piece puzzle mean in the context of business, and what does solving that puzzle
Yeah.
mean?
I knew that. Okay. So for me, in order for me to convince you to give me a check to buy my business, I had to have all my I's dotted and T's crossed. So I had to anticipate the kind of questions you were going to ask. So anticipating the questions, visualization to me, because then to me, it's anticipating going into a meeting, either on a phone call or in a boardroom, and you're going
Mhm,
to ask me that question. So if we work backwards from that, okay, Christina's going to ask me some questions. Okay. So they're not just going to happen like they don't just come out of thin air.
mhm,
So then I go back from that. Okay, then I might be on a call with her, or I might be on a camera with her, which means
mhm,
that I'm going to look into the light so she can connect with me. So I take that moment and I literally walk it back in my head. And then I
mhm.
go, okay, it's going to happen in September. That means it's in September. Okay, I know my kids are going back to school. I know my kid's going to start playing hockey around there. That second week of September feels this way. And I literally take that moment, Christina, and I rip it apart and I actually paint it as art in my head. And I do it every single day right now as we're building a business right now.
Mhm.
I can see, like, I feel like I can see Monday coming around the corner because I
Mhm.
know what things I've accomplished by Monday right now. Like in my
That's
head, I
super
know what I've
interesting.
accomplished by Monday. Like
Yeah.
I know when Monday comes, I can see what's going to be on LinkedIn already. I can see things that are going to be done because I don't.
I like what you're talking about a lot because I think you're talking about it from two perspectives. One is like this larger vision. And
Mm,
as an entrepreneur, we do have to be visionaries because a lot of
yes,
times we have an idea and we see a problem and we have a thesis around the solution to
yes,
that problem, but then executing against that to bring it all together and shift and change and adapt as you have to do to get
yes,
there is a very different thing. The other side that you're talking about is related to like day to day. And I think when I that resonated with me because I definitely don't do that. I There's that balance of like people talk about being present and in the moment. And
yes.
now we're talking about but visualize it ahead of time. What I'm hearing you say is actually being present and in the moment is easier when I'm visualizing it ahead of time because then I can know
Yes.
what it's gonna feel like. I kinda know
Yes.
what's gonna happen, and I can prepare accordingly to that. Whereas I'm like, "It'll happen, like, we'll deal with it when we get there."
I like working towards feeling like it's already accomplished instead of working towards what I need to accomplish. It's bizarre to me. Like I even used it on the example of the show here. I often think about what it's going to feel like when I'm done my run
Mhm.
instead of what it's like going through it because I know how much I love the feeling of when I'm done. Oh my
Mhm.
god, I love that. So we talk about chasing the feeling.
Right.
Right. So I've created the awareness and I just lean into it and I talk in my head about it, going, okay, I know how it's going to feel because it feels great. I've done it so many times over and over. And that
Mhm.
feels like so. I guess it's a skill set that I take for granted. That's why when I have these conversations with AJ, I'm like, yeah, I do that because he's right. When I trained for Kilimanjaro, Christina, I went to
Mhm.
the gym. I wore all my stuff. Like I wore my hiking stuff in the gym. I was walking up the treadmill. I wore my
Yeah.
boots. Like I went as if I was doing the exact trek out on the mountain, but in the gym.
Interesting.
And I had hockey players and people going, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm practicing for my experience." Because to me, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Because you're going to space. If you're going to space, like think about it, you're going to go to
you
space.
would train.
You would get into a cap. You would train for every possible.
Pilots do it too. Pilots have to
Yes.
do X number of tests, X number of every X number of months, and they have to get in a simulator and they have to do the flying.
Is that not visualization?
It's 100%. In that case, I don't know technically, like scientifically,
Okay,
where that
but it
ladders
is.
up
I'm
because
just
you're actually doing
yes.
there's a physical nature to it, whereas like versus just sitting there and doing it. But I would love to explore a little bit more about the different kinds of visualization, like a simulation or a
Yes.
training versus sitting there in like more of a meditative state, which
Yes.
I'm probably just assuming. But I think it's a really good point I've never really thought of. And I don't know. I think it's really powerful. And I know that I've talked to coaches that I've had, like self-worth coaches, for example. I
Yes.
have a self-worth coach and she talks about oftentimes we discuss like manifestation, which has a
Yes.
real bad rap. There's a lot of science behind manifestation, and it doesn't come down to just writing something down and saying it over and over and over and over again in your mind, which is what kind of manifestation has become known as. Instead, it's very much so around evoking the emotions, evoking the feelings that come with, okay, so if you want to work on confidence and worth and value, great. Before I do a meditation, I write down an example of like when I felt confident, when I felt worthy, when I felt valuable. And that's what I'm visualizing. I'm visualizing those moments and the emotions and the experience that it was because I'm then going to evoke what's necessary from a biophysical perspective in order to actually make that change. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So that's really critical. The feeling of it, it's not just the words, it's actually evoking the feeling.
I think the quicker you can learn how to embrace that feeling, the quicker you can learn how to embrace visualization. And again,
Mhm.
I think it was something I really loved leaning into back when I was building ICUC was with my team is every single quarter acting as if the quarter had already happened. I think the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make is working towards what they think they're going to do instead of reframe the words. What have you accomplished?
So
Oh,
use that in the context of often talk about business planning and KPIs. How are
yes.
those 2 things different for you?
Explain, elaborate on your question.
So, if you've ever worked in a corporate environment, and
Right.
startups can be different, me too, but you sit down and it's planning time. And there's a
Yes.
period of time throughout the year where you all sit down and you write out your objectives,
Yes.
strategies, and tactics, and you
Yes.
go at it. What you're saying, and I've heard you say this before, KPIs are different and OKRs are different, of course, but those are very like specific ways to approach this that you don't really abide by. You use very different measurements or very different practice in order to get to that. And I think what you're saying is that it's really like this visualization tactic. It's so tell me a little bit about that for you.
Yeah. So I line up a big goal and then pull levers along the way to get to that big goal. And for me, it's less about KPIs and OKRs or ORKs or ABCD. Yeah,
Fucking
exactly. Some would say it's maybe the burn the boats mentality, but it's no, there's the big goal and we have to find a way to get there. And along the way, we're going to pull levers. We're going to do more over here and do less over here. And oh, we missed the deadline. No, you didn't miss the deadline because the goal's over there. Oh, no, there's no deadlines are just milestones to help us feel a certain way to get towards and make sure we're going in the right direction. So I think deadlines create artificial urgency. I think if we all have our mind, that's why I love or hate. That's why I like how Elon sets these goals that most of the time are unachievable.
yep.
But he sets them because if we don't set them, we don't think we can try to achieve them.
And
Because I
maybe
think
that's the difference. Maybe
humans,
that's the difference.
and I think that's something maybe you've gotten used to or not used to working with me, is that I'm always setting something ridiculously ambitious. You're probably thinking that's not going to happen. Well, no, but if I don't set it that way, then we're never going to think that way.
And maybe it comes down to the confidence to even
Yes.
visualize that
Yes.
audaciously. Like,
Yes.
do you think it's going to happen? Maybe not, but I'm confident enough that I'm going to get it as fucking close as possible. And if anyone's going to do it, I'm going to do it. That's a
Yes.
real like strength in knowing your capabilities. And what I'm hearing where I'm missing the mark, which is not shocking to anyone, is there's a lack of confidence to even dream that big because you're like, I don't know, can I? And if I put everything in this
Yes.
basket, will I what happens if I don't?
Yes. I have a piece I'm hoping to drop today as we work toward wrapping up our segment here. But I have a piece dropping today which asks the question: what if you succeeded? Because
Mhm.
often we're always, I'm gonna. What if I fail? No, no. But what if you succeeded? I know it's so cliche, but what if you succeeded?
No, it's real. The fear associated with
Yeah.
success is real.
Do you ever? Because I do this. Do you ever just pause sometimes and ask what it must be like working at SpaceX, where their mission is to get people to Mars? Just think about that for a second. Like you wake up in the morning, oh, what's your purpose? I'm going to help people get to Mars. That's never going to happen. No, that's why I'm fucking getting up right now. I'm getting people like most humans can't connect that because we've never been to Mars. Most not going to go to Mars. Yet there's
Mhm.
humans. There's 10,000 people waking up there in Austin, Texas, waking up every single day going, we're getting human beings to Mars.
It's
That to me
wild.
is the ultimate in visualization, though, Christina, because they all believe it
Mhm.
and have the confidence to believe it. That's
And
powerful,
aren't
man.
blocked by the fear of everything that could happen, I think too. Like to
Powerful.
have that confidence in yourself and in the team to be like, "No, I'm the smartest motherfucker.
Yes.
I work at SpaceX. I am a ridiculous human
Yes.
being. And I'm gonna, yeah, not only am I gonna say we're gonna do this, but we're gonna do it. And being okay with how many spaceships did he crash before he was able to catch that one?
That's right. It's exactly
Like,
right.
I don't know, and being okay with that and having the confidence and having, of course, the resources is a different thing. But yeah, no, this is really interesting to me. It's eye opening.
To me, the learning for visualization for business and branding is, I think, what I'm even learning from you is try to find a way not to be afraid to find confidence in it. Right? Not find a way to be confident with visualizing. Trying to find a way to be confident with a big audacious goal that maybe you've never given yourself permission to have confidence around before. I don't know, but
I'm doing it one step further. I'm visualizing confidence. That's
I,
what I'm working on with
I
my
like that.
self-work coach is I'm visualizing confidence. I'm visualizing self-worth. I'm visualizing self-value because those are tenets that I struggle with. And once I get those more on track, things related to how do you apply that confidence and in what setting becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah. Visualization is awesome. I got to be honest. I didn't. The conversation with AJ has created a lot more awareness with me about it, and I think I want to talk more about it with our team
And our
here.
creator spotlight yesterday,
Yeah.
Maya.
Right?
Maya
Yes.
Ratura, like she's doing that visualization work too. She's
Oh,
first ever Nike mental fitness trainer. This is just the beginning of these
the
conversations. It's been going on a long time. I won't claim we're fucking
mind will
beginning it.
kill you or the mind will power you.